Hi, y'all. Hello. I want to talk to you today about honoring the goddess. This may feel like a very divinely feminine episode. I'm assuming most of my audience is feminine, though, in nature. That's typically been how things go with my priestess journey. So I hope that this is supportive and nourishing for you. This was inspired very heavily by a session that I had with Heather Gordy, who is an incredible healer in town. She is a part of the Priestess Collective, and I'm so honored to work alongside her and to check in with each other and be able to assist each other as we are navigating through certain circumstances in life. Very ironic, the last time that I had a session with Heather was after my separation in January, may have been early February, but I believe I saw her pretty soon after it happened because that's what we do when we have tools and when we work with healers and when we are going through a portal of transition and transformation. We lean on the resources that we have gathered and we allow them to assist us and nurture us and support us. And so, it was interesting that we are checking back in now at this point in the year, and we're really we really went into some pretty heavy relationship conversations. Um, as I've spoken about recently, with a ghosting scenario, hasn't happened to me in a very long time, and not ever in this way. And Heather and I laughed about it, and we were like, "We're too old for this." I was like, I think this is the only time you will catch me saying that. I don't believe I'm too old for anything. I love the idea of living for a very long time, 120 years, maybe more. And yeah, in this situation, I was like, yeah, I really was blindsided by this because it just really felt like I was out of that season. So, similar to now, we sat down with Mama Cacao, we entered into session, and Heather is a wonderful channeler and a divinely guided channel. Trying to think of another word to use aside from just one who is connected with source and with your higher self and the frequencies that are present within you and your relationships and your dynamics. And so she immediately connected to the knowing and need the knowing of the need to connect with the divide within the masculine and feminine that I was experiencing. And she really helped me reframe the situation that I'm navigating. And this is where the goddess enters. And I also like to think of when I say the goddess and when I say goddess, I'm thinking of the priestess as well. The priestess, I love this actually. This is a great discernment. The priestess is the teacher in me. The priestess is what my soul's path is majority majorly made up of. I feel that my path is to be a translator for the messages that I receive and to attempt to make information digestible and relatable and relevant to whoever might be interested in listening. And I adore the learning teaching cycle, and it's a true privilege and honor to recognize that priestess role and do my very best to honor it and express it in the ways that I feel I'm called to. Now, the goddess is the lover in us, the feminine, the woman, the one who recognizes boundaries in relationship dynamics and business dynamics. She's the one that protects our feminine essence. So, in many ways, she's very different than the priestess. The priestess is here to play a role, to do a duty, to fulfill a service. The goddess is, in a sense, but she is like, oh, her essence is so difficult to express, but I really hope you're starting to get an idea of it. It's beyond a role, it's beyond a service to offer to others. The goddess is here as our protector, as our guide, as our center. she is the one we are designed to consult as we are navigating through relationships and situations in our life. And so in this session, Heather was reminding me to recognize the goddess in me and how the goddess may respond to this situation, to the way that this dynamic was unfolding, to the way that treatment was being given, to honor her anger, her rage, her confusion, her distrust and distaste. It was really almost overwhelming to really welcome her in and all of her emotions without the priestess coming in and saying, well, they're going through a hard time too. And well, maybe this is all divine timing and divine alignment. And perhaps this is something that you called in with your energy and you need to learn your lesson from it. And while all of that is true, the priestess is true in all of those things that I just listed. And also, the goddess wants to be heard, expressed, encouraged to have her wave of anger, rage, recognition that this no longer is acceptable. This is not okay. This relationship in the construct that it currently is formed in cannot continue and will not continue. And here's why. And while the priestess is right, it is serving a purpose and it is a mirror of something that was in my energy and it's being reflected to me so that I can karmically level up and learn and grow and expand and everything was perfectly orchestrated. Yes, yes. But when I live in that place of the priestess, when it comes to my intimate relationships, I am not unified. I am actually not in my truth. I'm not being transparent with myself. And if you know anything about me, I've shared my gene keys. I speak a lot about intimacy and transparency. It is my purpose here on this earth. It is my purpose key in gene keys 59.6. So there's a certain element of me that really has a bit of trial and error. All 6 lines live a bit like a 3 line trial and error, experimenting, getting things right, getting things wrong, learning lessons along the way. And then the 6 says, okay, here's what I learned. Here's what I've gathered. Here's what I've recognized. Let me share. So there is a certain standard that 6 lines hold themselves to. That is the role model. It is the teacher, the guide, the one who has gained wisdom through life's experiences. But one thing that a 6 often resists is the experiences of the 3. And so I found myself in that. And this revelation came to the surface with Heather as I was recognizing, wow, I've had a trial and error experience. I've learned where maybe along the way throughout this relationship, I wasn't actually fully listening to my goddess and more so listening to my priestess and taking my work to my home life, if you want to put it that way, taking my work, my priestess hat, and moving in my intimate relationships in that way with compassion and understanding and reasoning and even logic and the mind. And while that serves me when I serve others, it was not and has not served me when it comes to my intimate relationships. But when I think of the archetype of the goddess, and when I allow my brain to sort of switch into that, and it's all just language, it's just a different story I'm telling myself right now, but I'm excited to share it with you because it's brought me a breakthrough. When I allow my mind to shift into the goddess narrative, the goddess frequency, I have a distinct visual of what she looks like, what that expression of me looks like. And I can feel and sense what it is she would allow and accept and what it is she would not even begin to entertain. And so this is the shift. This is where the transparency is required with myself, where I recognize this behavior that I've experienced from this person is not ever okay. And here's why. And also, the goddess takes responsibility for the way in which I've conducted myself that has allowed that has made space for that behavior to bloom. And so as I speak with my goddess and ask her, what is infuriating you? What is not making you feel safe? What is upsetting you? How can I nurture you? How can I protect you? She speaks directly to me and lets me know. She lets me know that you don't prioritize other people's feelings over yours. You don't make excuses up for their bad behavior or their, very generalized word, but what I'm perceiving as behavior that's not making me feel good and that isn't supportive or nourishing. It's not my job to make up reasons for them in my mind to justify it. And also, being her protector, being her confidant, the goddess in me, I am meant to prioritize what it is she says. So if she says she's angry, if she says she's upset, if she says she feels scared, not safe, if unsure, all of this is valid and requires contemplation and meditation and honesty. So, Heather went further to explain that the goddess desires the king, and the king is the divine masculine, the one who seeks to merge with the goddess. He is actually initiated by the goddess. So, this requires that the goddess is in her alignment and is maintaining that alignment and is not swaying or compromising or justifying for anyone. She has a very, when I picture her, a very warrior almost energy, very selective, mm, powerful. I'm thinking of the 34th gene key. The shadow is force, the gift, strength, and the city is majesty. So I'm picturing this very majestic being who's extremely clear on what behavior is acceptable and what behavior is not acceptable, and will accept nothing less. And so as the king approaches correctly, he is blessed with the energy of the goddess, the temple of the goddess, and all of the beautiful luxuries and cheat codes that come with that. So the issue is that when we compromise our goddess, we allow just anyone into the temple, perhaps someone who hasn't truly earned it or isn't to be trusted in there. We lose our power. And I would venture to say the frustration and anger that we feel towards the other is actually towards ourselves, knowing that we are allowing behavior that's less than what we deserve. We've allowed someone to enter past our boundaries. Maybe we don't even have boundaries, and so we stay in a place of anger and frustration with the entire world. You have to see where you fall within that. For me, I think I felt a lot of disappointment around the situation, and of course, I felt it towards that person. And the more I sit with it, I'm disappointed with myself. I'm disappointed that I didn't have the strength or the majesty in those moments to hold fast to what I knew was required in order to have a healthy coming together. And I actually don't think it's the other person's fault. I don't think I'm disappointed with them. I am the leader in that way. I am the protector. My job is to protect and lead from a place of truth that the goddess informs me of that helps keep the course on a successful path and a successful trajectory, I should say. And even a king, while they may know and they may make it easy for the goddess to emerge, a true king really only wants a goddess that recognizes what's a boundary, what's okay, what's not okay, and holds fast to that. I think in this last situation, there was a few circumstances where tests were being made. And I remember always feeling a little bit triggered by that. Why am I being tested? What is this testing energy? Like waiting for me to slip up or say something or do something that um, would would maybe prove a certain notion or point or whatever it might be. And I think that if I'd listened a little bit clearer to myself and my goddess, as I'm describing it, I would have heard her say that a place of test is a place where there already is mistrust and distrust. I think those would have been red flags for me. Now, I think there is a difference between interviewing someone and being discerning as to what they answer and what they say. And as you are seeing someone, that's a very common practice. But there's a difference between that and testing. And I think testing energy stems from a deep place of wounding and a place of, I already don't trust you because whatever reason, I've been hurt before or I've been disappointed before. And so now I'm projecting that onto now this situation. And I think for the person who's being tested consistently, it is letting you know and informing you that you will never truly have this person's trust and you will always be working out of a deficit for past unhealed projections that are being placed on you, unfairly so. And we all do this. This is not, this person is not unique in having done this. We all do this. I see myself in that behavior. And it is also a very beautiful mirror of saying, okay, where do I do that? And why do I do that? And how can I look at my wounding and maybe recognize how I can deepen that awareness for myself and in my future relationships. There's a lot more to unpack here with this, but I think I'm going to leave it here. And I'm curious to see what you guys take from it, what you gather from it, and if it resonates with you. If you often tune into your goddess, if you can feel her, if you can honor her. And I just let my goddess respond. And it feels so cool. I feel such a sense of peace. I feel such a sense of closure. It's perfect timing with the full moon. And I just looked at my messages on my screen here and it said 33. That is my life path number, 33. Thank you for the confirmation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all. I hope this serves you, offers a perspective to you. Maybe there's some sort of insight, breakthrough, download. If so, share it with me. I would love to hear about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.